For Monday, the 22nd of April. I'm Stephen Ridgway. There is a critical flaw in the Forminator plugin for WordPress sites that leaves over 300,000 websites vulnerable. 3 CVEs, 2024 28890, 2024 31077, and 2024 31857, which are affecting versions 1.29 points. Well, the article's a little bit ambiguous about this, actually, because it says that the first vulnerability impacts versions 1.29.0 and earlier. The second, which is an SQL injection flaw, impacts 1.29.3 and earlier, and the last one was a cross-site scripting vulnerability which affects Forminator 1.15.4 and older. The recommendation is to upgrade to version 1.29.3, which they then say addresses all 3 flaws. So either CVE 2024 31077 doesn't impact 1.29.3, or this patch doesn't address that one. Either way, if you're using this plugin, very common forms plugin for WordPress, definitely worth having a look. Make sure the plugin is updating, and as always, give it a nudge, because WordPress plugins don't always update as you expect them to automatically. So I came across an article on the Register about how antivirus software can be fooled into deleting known good files. Interesting technique, but basically, if you do manage to get access to a device, you can inject code into existing files that you know will trigger an antivirus response. And as antivirus software is as often as not set to delete rather than quarantine, simply by injecting known known virus code signatures into good files, you can be very disruptive. It affects any antivirus solution that uses bit patterns, basically, or uses effectively code matching, in order to identify a file as malicious. That does include Microsoft Defender, including Defender on Azure. So Kaspersky's endpoint detection and response solution will fall for this as well, but I suspect there'll be a whole load of others that would do this. I mean, it's not, I don't think in itself, something that you need to unduly concerned about, because it does require prior compromise one way or another. But it is interesting if the objective, the exercise for the attacker is to cause disruption and to remove access to stuff, effectively to have an impact on business process. This could be an interesting way to go about it. Although if you've got this level of access, there are probably other more efficient ways of causing disruption. However, it's an interesting, makes an interesting read, and definitely something that on the defensive side, we need to have a little bit to think about. On other things, even the best can get hacked. It's worth bearing in mind that even organizations that are absolutely at the top of the game can, under some circumstances, get compromised. And this appears to have happened to MITRE. So it looks like MITRE's research environment was breached via the Ivanti, or one of the Ivanti 0 days earlier this year. As the MITRE CEO points out, no organization is immune from this type of cyber attack, not even one that strives to maintain the highest cybersecurity possible. And I think that's fair. So kudos to MITRE for being transparent about this. They have explained that the hacking groups, state-backed hacking groups, we're talking about well-funded, very well prepared groups, chaining together to Ivanti 0 days in order to overcome MITRE's differences. As you can be certain, MITRE will have done some very good incident response and DFIR on this. They are saying that evidence collected during the investigation shows that the breach did not affect the organization's core enterprise networks or any of its partners' systems. And I think we can be pretty confident that if they say that, that's true. But yeah, just goes to show the threat actor associated with this is an APT that Mandiant tracks as UNC 5221, which has been, which is allegedly a Chinese state-sponsored threat actor. We know that there's evidence that that particular group backdoored over 2,000 Ivanti appliances, and that was used to harvest account and session data from breached networks. Victims of those ranged from small businesses right up to, as we can see, some of the world's best security organizations. And then finally, for those of us in the UK, and specifically those of us, or not me, but those of you who may be in Gloucestershire, Gloucestershire Council has been working with the police to use AI cameras in order to record traffic offences, and specifically they've been looking at people using telephones or driving without a seatbelt. So you have been warned. Apparently, if AI thinks that you were using your phone or you didn't wear a seatbelt, it will then send that particular picture or clip to investigators. At the moment, they have not been using this to prosecute drivers, and they've been using it for what they call a survey. However, dear, where do we go with this? Is this an appropriate use of technology? I'm not sure that. I'm not entirely sure that using technology to track what everybody does is a good plan. Look at China if you want to see where this level of intrusion will take us. Well, that's enough from me for today. I hope you have a good start to the week, and I will speak to you all again tomorrow morning.